Would you like to do a complete test first, or do you have any focus areas, like specific parts?
You take the lead.
Okay, we're gonna do a full
Let's
test
do yeah.
first.
Let's see how you would analyze and try to grade the students fully, and how would you help them improve in just one session? Hmm.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, welcome to the speaking portion of the IELTS exam. My name is Wilson, and I will be your examiner for this part of the test. And we're recording this for marking purposes and sharing later. I'll give you instructions for each part. What is your full name?
Well, my full name is, but you can call me Tom for short.
Okay. And Tong, for part one, I'll ask you a couple of questions to get to know you better and some questions on a general topic. So, first of all, where do you live now?
Well, I'm currently living in Hanoi, which is, as you could already guess, it is the capital city of Vietnam. It's a very, let's say, busy and bustling city that is suitable for, I guess, mainly work, but for it's not for much else. Like it's not a place where you settle down.
Okay. And are there any things you don't like about your area?
Well, my area specifically, I don't have any complaints yet. It's just that, of course, I'm living in a rental place, so there could be just many very minute details that really annoys me a lot. For once, it could be that the entrance to my house, it's really hard to get my bike up. So every time I would go out, it really makes me feel lazy to get my bike out because it's a lot of work to put it out and, of course, to get it in as well.
Okay. And do you think you will continue to live there for a long time?
Yes, at least for the upcoming year, I would still stay here just because it's of course the very a lot of annoying things, but it is still overall a really nice place for the price point. I think I really got a good deal for the place. So yeah, for I believe just a couple more years ahead, I think I'll be staying here.
Yeah. All right. And please do not look at what I'm writing. Just listen to what I'm saying and then answer, all right?
Right, right.
Okay. Just so you don't prepare anything beforehand. Now, do you like living in the countryside?
Well, I've been living in the countryside for most of my life because uh, I've only came to Hanoi to study for university, and for previously I was living in Tuyên Quang. It's a relatively, let's say, distant province in the north. A lot of people does haven't heard of Tuyên Quang, which is very surprising to me because that's I think it's obvious because I haven't been to much place else. But I believe living in the countryside really does feel a lot better than to live here in the city. It's a lot nicer, it's a lot fresher. The people here is, of course, a lot less intense. So it's just overall a nice place to really, let's say, settle down.
Okay. And let's move on to another topic. Yeah. Let's talk about hmm, snacks. What snacks did you eat when you were young?
For the most part, I believe I've always been a fan of really crunchy food. So they mostly be chips of any sort. It doesn't really matter because I believe all chips taste the same. And I anytime I could get my hands on any chips, I'd munch them down and really see no ends to it.
Okay. And when do you usually eat snacks now?
Well, now I am a somewhat responsible adult, so I'd like to stay away from really munching on snacks a lot. But then and there, I really find myself still, of course, reaching for a few packs of chips whenever I'm stressed out at work, or just trying to relax for a while.
All right. Do you think it is healthy for you to eat snacks?
No, of course not. I believe it's a guilty pleasure of mine. But of course, in terms of let's say nutritional values, there of course there is none because they are really just fried potato chips.
All right. Well, let's move on to house or apartment. What kind of housing do you live in?
As I've previously mentioned, I'm currently living in a apartment, a studio apartment, which is an in essentially it's an integrated living room, bathroom, bedroom, it's just all in one's very, let's say, small box.
Hmm. Okay. And do you live alone or with your family?
Right now, I live alone because again, I'm pursuing higher education in the city, and my family, of course, still lives in Tuyên Quang, my hometown.
Oh, and can you please describe the place you live in?
Well, it's a nice living place. It's a very cozy one at that. I believe I have furnished it. Uh, for I think furnace is the right word. Yes, I furnished it in a way that it really makes the room shine, really brings out the best in the room, even though it's a very small living space. But I believe it's one that I am very comfortable living in for the time ahead.
Hmm. Okay. Let's talk about stories. Did you love stories when you were a child?
Yes, I believe I've always been someone who's very into stories of any kind because I believe it doesn't really matter on the moral or the actual, let's say, storyline of the story, but how you really tell it. And I've been fortunate enough to have very good storytellers around my side, namely my mom, who is a literature teacher. So, of course, giving good stories is what she does for a living. And yeah, I think my mom is the greatest contributor to as why I'm so interested in stories.
Hmm. Okay. What kinds of stories do you like?
Like I said, I hoard a lot of stories. I don't really particularly interested in any one kind, but I guess if I have to choose, it'll be more or less historical or stories that really happened because I believe science and fictions is cool and all. It really shines out compared to the rest, but real stories, stories that uh, played out in real life, is what really gets me.
Hmm. Okay. And do you prefer listening to stories or reading them?
Or definitely listening. I cannot stand 1 minute reading because I get bored very easily because I believe it's due to the ADHD. I'm not diagnosed, but I like to believe that I have them because my attention span, it's not something I'm very proud of. So listening would be the best form of storytelling for me, and it's also the form that I can uh, let's say, listen to them while also being able to do other things because I have a lot to do right now and I can't really sit tight and just read a story for a considerable amount of time.
Okay. Right. That's the end of part one. And for part two, I will present you with a card on your screen and you will have 1 minute to read the question. Can you see the card?
I
Mm,
can.
okay. This is what we're going to be preparing. I'll tell you when to stop and when to start, and you have a note paper and pencil in front of you. So your 1 minute of preparation time begins now. Tong. Okay, your 1 minute of preparation time is up. Please begin speaking now.
Okay, so today I'm going to talk about my dear friend whom I met only a year prior, but we have grown very close to, even though it was a very short amount of time. His name is, and even though we've known each other for just a very small time, but we actually spent some time living together in a small flat. And the reason why I believe that he really likes to dress well, because of course I have been living with him for that's for the time being. So I know how he dresses, I know how he thinks, and I know how he feel about clothing and of course dressing well. Well, his major doesn't really have anything to do with the way he dress or styles himself because we study the same thing. We are pursuing higher education in English language teaching. So for the most part, our job only requires to dress formally. But he's someone who I'd say that is, let's say, polar opposite to myself, because I'm someone who really just likes to wear things that are comfortable and things that are flexible. Like I can wear them to go out, or I can wear them to go teaching. But he's someone who pays a lot of attention and pays a great amount of time and effort into really getting to know his outfits and different styles. And I believe that it's it's something that myself I wouldn't do, but I believe that it's cool for him to do that, and it's cool for him to pursue his passion because I believe that is what makes him happy. And when he tries out a new outfit, he would like to video them and sometimes even post them on TikTok. And I think that's pretty nice of him.
Okay, that is 2 minutes. So, okay, that's great. Let's stop there, and now we'll continue with part three. For part three, I'll ask you some questions relevant to the topic of part two. So let's continue. Do you think online shopping will replace in-store shopping in the future? Why?
I believe, um, right. So I believe that online shopping, as of right now, has already been a really big part of clothing shopping as a whole. I believe I've read a study or a research paper recently that said that 70% of the purchases made in clothing nowadays is done online. But however, I believe that online stores cannot entirely replace physical stores because the feeling of being able to window shop or just really being able to try the clothes actually on yourself to see if it fits is something that online shopping cannot guarantee, because when you shop online you doesn't can't really tell if the clothes fits you well or suits you. So sometimes, of course, most people would like the comfort of online shopping, but for those who really care about clothing or really care about how they look on themselves, would just go out of their way to go to stores to try them on to before really buying them.
Mm, okay. And are you a person who likes to follow fashion?
I believe I'm someone who has a growing passion in fashion because I think that nowadays looks really matters, even though how even if how shallow it sounds. But of course, having a good look goes a long way. So I would like to really improve my fashion and to just overall look better, to represent myself better in any setting possible.
Mm,
So yes.
okay. And are older people as fashionable as young people? Why?
I believe for the most parts, no, because from my understanding, the people around my area, the old people around my area, more specifically, they dress in, of course, a very old-fashioned sense. Their clothes are normally worn out, and the details and textures on them are just, let's say, not suitable for the current fashion trends, and of course, for the young people. And I think most people would agree with me that they do not look fashionable in any sense. But of course, there is now and then old people who pays attention to what they wear. So they really brings out the old money vibe. But for the most part, old people nowadays, they have never really been able to have the chance to look into what they're wearing because it's just in the Vietnamese context, when the old people nowadays, when they were young, we were in a time where war was still a thing. So of course, fashion has never been the point of focus for them.
Hmm. Okay. And are women more fashionable than men? Why?
Yes, I would believe that most women are, because from my understanding, it's just a lot easier for women to shop for clothes, as well as having just a plethora of uh, clothing choices. For example, when I do secondhand shopping, the clothes for men are, let's say, 100% of the time is more expensive, and it's just a lot simpler, and it's just an overall, it's not much variety to men clothing. For women, however, shops grow like trees in the forest, right? And the clothes there is very cheap, and I can't count on my finger how many different styles they can choose from. There's just a lot more choices than there are their counterpart. So I believe situations and circumstances does allow women to be more fashionable than men. But overall, generally, of course, fashion is something that is leans more toward the more feminine side.
Hmm. Okay. Well, that is the end of the entire speaking test. Thank you for your participation, and you will soon have your scores. Now, let's go back. Overall, which part do you find to be the most difficult?
Hmm. I I believe it will be part two. It's part two is something that I haven't really got a good grasp on because I just can't manage to get my head around a fully developed story. So I believe that there are some parts that I do not that I would want to change or have gone a better towards a better direction. So yeah, I would like to
Yeah,
improve on being able to jot down more on the 1 minute time.
yeah, I think yes, you have established context. You have talked about your dear friend. You talk about his name, how you met him, when did you meet him? But yes, polar opposites, some really good vocabulary out there. But remember to go a little bit deeper. Like describe a person who you know enjoys dressing well. You should try and
Yeah,
mention
yeah.
what sort of clothes the person was wearing, right?
Mm. Yeah,
As
yeah,
some
yeah.
examples. Like you missed
Yeah,
out on this one, so
yeah.
it's a little bit too surface level. But
Mm.
yeah, uh,
Yeah, I know that
aside from that,
because,
it's
like I
very
said,
good.
I'm always very caught on just developing the story, and sometimes the timing is just not enough for me to really get down and dirty on the main topic, which is that is something I would like to develop or invest more time into.
Yeah, try and pay attention to that. Try and
Yeah.
expand on the deeper details,
Mm.
not just surface level.
Yeah.
Okay. So part two, aside from that, some really good vocabulary. It's everything is really good, very good. And you are on the brink of getting an eight. But for part three, I would say there's just an odd choice, a plethora of clothing choices. Plethora of clothing choices. It just seems a little bit odd to use something like that. Yeah, maybe something like having access to a variety of clothing choices. Maybe it's just that I haven't really heard of it being used like that. Plethora. Plethora means
Uh,
excess, usually
yeah.
negative, but yeah.
Mm.
Okay. Secondhand shopping counterpart. And for this one, try not to make it too personal, like would not agree with me. We're on an abstract level in part three, so you can try and frame it as most people in Vietnam, most young people in Vietnam would agree that old
Right.
people would not be as fashionable as young people.
Mm.
Something like that. Try not to
Right,
insert
right.
yourself into the conversation.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. You can do that in part one and part two, but part three is a little bit more abstract. So do that just to be on the safe side
Mm.
and fits you well, suits you. Okay. Do you think online shopping will replace in-store shopping in the future? Um, yeah, part one. The first question, maybe you can add, you should answer first. Like, yes, I do. I think it will replace the, it should be a straightforward answer first, and then you should then develop your response later. Maybe 1 to 2 reasons. Yeah, I think it will replace in-store shopping because first, you can't really window shop online. Second of all, it you can't really feel the texture and the fabric of something you would like to purchase online. Like, yeah, cite about 2, 3 reasons, and then you can explain them in details after that. Give us reasons first, and then explain the details later. Okay, that will make the first question clearer. But yes, there's one plethora and answer the question. Give answers to the question and then explain later. Okay, now that is just something to be careful of, be aware of in part 3. And this is what you should be aware of in part 2. Try to mention what he wears. Back to part 1, you did quite well in part 1, so it's not really problematic. Some really good vocabulary were used. Hold, historical, contributor literature. Okay, and this one is quite hard to spell. You roll off the tongue quite well. Moral storyline. Just what about this one? You said something about what snacks did you eat when you were young? You said something about Xeno answer, or is it something
Um,
else?
yeah, I believe that I see you wrote that down. I was like, Zeno. I don't say Zeno.
Oh,
She must have heard
yeah.
something wrong. Well, yeah. I can't really put my finger on it right now because it's gone fast for so long. But
Uh,
I think it has something to rhyme with it as well. Zeno, see though, something.
oh, okay. Well, at least, yeah, that one I couldn't hear it clearly. It
Mm,
could affect your pronunciation, but very little. Like it was just the only problem in the entire speech, your entire speech. So it's not really something to worry about. Now, about the place you live in. Okay, this is the same as part 2. Try and you say you furnish it, you make the room
yeah,
shine, but try and explain a little bit more like how did you furnish it in what ways? Like did you
yeah.
just repaint the entire room? Did you
Mm,
decorate it with objects? Did you use posters? Yeah. Try
mm,
and make it a little bit more specific, not
yeah,
surface level.
right,
And
right.
this one we find. Okay, just a little bit of stutter on the furnishing. I mean, it's just a very singular era. It's not as high density, so usually, yeah, we skipped over. And but yeah, try and come with you did recover, but try and come with a quick recovery. Like furnish, is that like the right word? Let me just think for a second. Oh yeah, I think it is definitely the right word.
Mm,
Something like that. Just keep on talking, but use some filler words while you talk to buy the time instead
right.
of a straight stop. Yeah. I live alone, a small box, not intense. The above, I see. Do you usually have this natural speaking pace, like speaking a little bit fast?
Is that a good thing or?
It's a good thing if that's your natural pace. I mean, right now, yes, it's easy to follow, but you did have to pay a little bit of attention. But if that is your speaking pace, your natural speaking pace, then yeah, you can keep to it. Otherwise, if it's not, maybe you can try and slow it down a little bit. But
Mm,
yeah,
uh,
if
I
it's
think it's a bit natural. I
if
kind
it's
of
natural.
Yeah, I tend to kind of really talk a bit faster than I normally am if I were to, really try to calm it down. But when the wave comes, I really just follow with my flow of ideas. So I just went by it.
Okay. Yeah. If that is your natural pace, if that's what helps you to come up with ideas, to follow with ideas, and to speak naturally without difficulties, then yeah, keep to it. If that's how you usually deal with it. Okay. And there's no problems with the speaking pace. And yeah, that's just essentially what you should pay attention to. Takeaway is try and develop a little bit more details,
Right,
specific details
yeah,
in
right.
your speech. That's all. Yes, and try to use a bit more framing to talk in a more objective tone in
Right,
part
for
three.
part three, right.
Yeah, and that's pretty much it. I think you're pretty close to an 8. Yeah, definitely gonna get an 8 if you be aware, if you're aware of these problems.
Mm.
And yes, I don't see what is holding you back from a band 8. Okay.